today is actually, we're going to sit to begin with. So I encourage you to find a spot that's relatively comfortable. If that's cross-legged for you, great. If it's not, you're welcome to sort of sit in what we call a hero's pose, where you're sitting on your heels. I have a cushion here. You could use a cushion to sit on if you want. That's an option to sit like that, but don't feel like you have to. It can be a little taxing on the knees. So if cross-legged is better for you, you're welcome to sit cross-legged and again, prop with a pillow or whatnot. So find that comfortable seat. And once you've sort of found that, go ahead and just relax those hands. You can have palms open on the thighs or hands in the lap, whatever feels the best for you right now. And then soften that gaze, whether that be with your eyes just gently closed or just taking your gaze downward towards your heart. Taking this opportunity to just check in, see how you are this morning. Recognizing if there's any areas of slight tension, you might want to direct your breath to that area. Maybe it's your neck or your shoulders. For some of us, it might be in our low back. And not forcefully, but just gently sending your breath to any of those areas of tension, trying to see if any sort of release could come. And throughout our yoga practice, thoughts come and go as they do in day-to-day life. And we'll just try for the next hour to let those thoughts float by us, simply like a cloud. No need to anchor onto them. No need to fixate on them. Just simply let them be, because again, they're only thoughts. Good, and taking a nice deep breath in. And a releasing exhale out. We'll try that again. Nice deep breath in. Feel that air coming through the nostrils. And then your choice of releasing it through the mouth again or through the nose. And then as you're ready, slowly opening those eyes. Just give a little bit of movement through those fingertips. You might want to just move them a bit, bringing awareness. And if you're in a position that's comfortable to sit in, just stay there. If you need to adjust, go ahead. So wherever you're going to find ease. The other thing to think about this morning too is we want ease, but we also want to come to a certain level of edge. So we want to push ourselves to a point where we're not going too far, but we're going enough that it's challenging. So we've got a bit of challenge involved. So taking our hands, we're going to take our hands around our rib cage. So if you can think about the pointer finger and the thumb, that sort of loop that you get between those two, and we're going to place them right onto our rib cage like so. The rest of my fingertips are fairly fanned out, elbows to the side, shoulders drop down. So we're using our hands this morning as we had used the strap before, just getting some awareness to that breath. So inhale, feel those lungs expand and feel them come, those ribs coming all the way apart. Elbows might move away a little bit. And then as you exhale, that sinking of those hands down into the torso, you sort of feel a little collapse. Elbows move back towards the midline. So take a couple breaths, inhale and out, inhale and exhale, and feel that movement in that rib cage. Keeping the shoulders down and relaxed. And thinking about how can you bring this breath through your entire practice today, thinking of that rib cage expansion. And then that rib cage deflation, it comes on in. So essentially just trying to get that movement to come out and in and generating that movement here as opposed to up here or even down here today. Really trying to get that rib cage to move. That diaphragm is going to be flattening like a pancake as an inhale and then retracting back up as an exhale. So just play with it. Doesn't have to be serious, but just want to get initial engagement and almost that kinesthetic awareness of what's happening at that rib cage. Awesome. From here, go ahead and drop those fingertips down to the side. We'll fan our palms forward. So let's see the palms of everyone's hands. And then with a straight arm, if you can, and then we'll flip those hands and rotate the hands back behind us. So the movement here will go forward and back is not from the elbow joint, it's actually from the shoulder. So that rotation is happening, that ball and socket as best we can. And then as you feel that movement, let's see if we can add the lift of the arms as we kind of fan our hand back and forth. And we'll come to about shoulder height. And once you get to shoulder height, just see if you can continue to do that flipping of the hands, generating that movement from that ball and socket joint at the shoulder joint. Good. It might feel a little funny as you tip in or out, particularly if we don't normally move this way. You're not really aware of how that action works. And then from here, we'll take our hands and palms facing up. I'll be mirroring you. We'll take our right hand in front of us, take our left hand and bring it over top, crossing those two elbows. We've got a cross there. And then I'd like you to press up with your right hand, like really actively press up against the weight of the left hand. Feel that right shoulder fire up. You can feel it pressing up, 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 up. Good. And then open those arms back up really wide and we'll switch the bottom arm. So now the left arm will come under, sorry, I think I mixed up my rights and lefts here. So I'm on my left underneath, right on top. That left arm is pressing up on that right. Feel that tension, feel that engagement in through that left shoulder. Feel it work against yourself. Excellent. And then fan those arms out again. This time we'll cross and that right will come under the left. So left on top of right. This time press down with the top arm. So that would be your left arm. Press down, but try to resist with that bottom arm. Feels a little different. Open up nice and wide. Keep those palms up if you can. And then switching left under right. Pressing down now with that right arm. Press down, press down, press down. Feel those shoulders engage. And then open nice and wide one more time. And then let those arms just melt down to your side. Take a couple shoulder loops, bringing awareness and mobility through those shoulders to begin with today. Oh yeah, excellent. And so depending on where you're seated, everyone will come down to a point where your legs are extended out in front of you. So if you're sitting on your bum, come down. And if you're cross-legged, just kick those legs out. And I'll actually give you my profile. We did a little bit about this last week, I think. We did this one. Anyhow, we'll get there. So sitting up nice and tall, dig those heels down into the ground, a little bit of space behind the knees, and then press those sit bones down. I'm sitting up on something so I'm lifting my hips up slightly. Drop those fingertips down to the side and then walk them slightly back. So without lifting those ribs up, just allow those arms to walk back till you feel an openness through that front chest. Good. Trying to breathe through those ribs once more. Press down through those ankles, sitting up tall as if someone was pulling you up by a string on the top of your head. Connect to that breath. First bit of chest opening today. Good. Then generously bend those knees, fold that body forward, making the connection between the torso and the thighs. And from here, see if you can take your legs nice and wide, like really wide, like wider than hip width apart. So I'm in sort of this straddle here. So almost coming forward here, trying to reach for those toes in this really wide straight leg position. So I shouldn't say straight leg, slightly bent knee if you need, or straight leg position. Excellent. And then let those fingertips glide up those legs, close those legs in together again, sitting up in that straight position. Swim those fingertips back behind again. This time though, think about lifting your heart up. As you allow that chest to open, the chin may lift slightly, a little bit more of a back bend here this morning. So arching that back, lift up out of the pelvis, bring that heart forward, super energizing pose. And then connect to those ribs. What's going on there? Big breath in, big breath out. And then walk those fingertips forward again, coming forward. Your choice. Legs can stay together, or we can come back to that leg apart. Forward fold. Drop that gaze down. Look down to your mat or floor. See if you can wiggle a little bit and get those legs a little bit straighter. Again, legs can be apart or together. And then let those fingertips glide up those shins, past the knees, coming all the way up. From here, we're going to practice again that back, but this time bending those knees. I'm pretty sure we did this last week, planting those palms down. We're going to press down into our feet as we lift our hips up. Strong chest opener, lifting that torso up, engaging the back body. Allow the chin to tuck slightly so you can keep the longness in your neck. Good. Holding it for 3. Connect to that breath. 2. And then 1, slowly coming all the way down, coming up towards those thighs, hugging those knees into those armpits. Pull them all the way in, nice wide legs, almost like we're doing a happy baby, but in a seated position, pulling it in nice and tall. Good. Dropping your right leg out straight. Keep that left knee tucked into that armpit and slowly walk that foot in to come close beside that right thigh. Really squeeze that knee in as best you can. Taking opposite arms, so taking your right arm to your left knee, grab a hold of that knee, and without planting your right or your left hand, see if you can just twist away, towards that knee. And then allow those fingertips on the left hand to drop down behind you. So we're not cranking with our arms, we're using our torso to get us there. Press down through the heel of the right foot. Lift up out of the pelvic floor, press down through through the sit bones, through the pelvis. Good. And then slowly come back to center. Squeeze that left knee in a little bit tighter. Good. And then from here, we'll cross that left leg over. So we've got a bit of a cross. We'll take that opposite elbow again to that knee. This time, again, try not to plant that left hand. Rotate around the spine, even keeping that hand up as we twist towards that bent knee. And as you're ready, you can plant those left fingertips down, engage through that heel on the right foot, really press down. All points of contact. And then slowly unwind. Taking the ankle now of that left foot, bringing it on top of that right thigh. So dropping that knee down, externally rotating that hip, flex the foot there, and just allow gravity to push that knee slightly down. Good. It may come in towards the groin a little bit more or stay closer above the knee joint, depending on the flexibility through that hip. Awesome. Then taking your opposite side, so we'll take our right arm, cross it over the body, and thread that arm through the left. So we're going opposite cross. Here's some neuroplasticity for everybody. Opposite body, opposite things happening on one end of the body as the other. Good. And then release. Drop those hands down, release that leg, allow that leg to straighten out and give those legs a bit of a rumble, big rumble and shake. Alrighty, coming to the other side. So straight through that left leg, bending that right knee, bringing that right foot up close to the side of the left leg. Taking that opposite arm, so your left arm grabbing onto that right. Try not to use your hand. Rotate, rotate around the spine in that twist as you pull that knee towards the torso. As those fingertips come back, go ahead and drop them down. Really trying to engage those abdominal muscles and letting them do the work, not let the arms take over. Sitting nice and tall, lift out of the pelvic floor, ground down through those sit bones, press down through the heel of the left foot, and then slowly unwind yourself. We'll take that leg now and cross it over top of the left. Again, grabbing with opposite arm, left arm, sit up nice and tall, deep breath in. Try not to use those hands. Rotate, rotate around the spine. And then that hand really wants to drop down, at least mine does. See if you can let it stay up for a bit longer and then let it drop down. Really ground down through that right hip. It wants to creep up off the ground. So see if you can get balance between the both sides of your pelvis. Dropping the shoulders and then slowly unwinding yourself. Taking the ankle now on that right leg and placing it either up close to the groin or just above that knee joint, and then letting that right knee sort of let gravity pull it down. Take a chance to take, where's your posture? Did you start to sink into it? Sit up nice and tall. Again, ground through that heel. That's going to give you some extra lift. And then take your left arm across the body, thread it with the right. Again, opposite action on both sides, both ends of the body. Sitting tall. Connect back to that breath in the ribs, expansion and collapse. And then slowly unwind yourself. Good. Release. Give a little bit of rumble back to those legs. You can loop those shoulders and we'll swing those legs off to the side and come to a tabletop position. So into that tabletop right away, wrists and elbows under shoulders, knees under hips, shoelace side of the foot pressing down into the mat. And just give those hips a bit of a shake from side to side. Good. And then we'll come to stillness, engage and press into all 10 fingerprints. Tuck the toes under. We'll press those hips back towards the heels as the knees rise up. And then peel yourself all the way up into the downward facing dog, our first one of the day. Really scoop in through those shoulders if you can, drop them down your back, and then pedal those legs out a little bit. Just see if there's a little bit of movement. Might feel like you can get the heels to the ground, maybe not, no biggie. Whatever is possible today, let the body guide you. Now really press down through those fingertips, ground down through that left foot. We're going to let that right foot float up off the ground. Lift it as high as you can, and then completely drop it down so that it's parallel to the ground. So we can really kick our leg up with momentum. I want control and placement of those hips parallel to the mat. So really flex through that heel and try to keep those hips squared to the mat below you. Good. We'll get there. We'll get a chance to really open those hips in just a moment, but really get that first position here. Holding it for 3, 2, 1. Lower that right foot down, pedal it out one more time. We'll shift over to lift that left leg up. So ground down through that right foot, kick that left leg up and really kick it up, almost so much that you're way out of alignment, and then adjust and recorrect yourself so that those hips are parallel and square to the mat. Foot is flexed. Good work, everybody. Hold it here in that 3-legged dog. for 3, 2, 1. Lowering that left foot down. Pedal out those feet for a moment. Good work. So we'll take it a little bit now into rotation. Bear with me here, just a little bit more time on those hands. We'll kick that right foot up again, finding a really nice position, long body. And then from here, bend that knee. Here we go. Let's open up those hips with purpose. So we'll rotate and try to stack one hip on top of the other. So we're almost looking under that armpit on the right side. Finding a long stretch through the side body on the right. Keep those heads between the arms. Good. And then slowly with control, rotate that hip down, straighten that knee, and come back to that downward facing dog. Hold on here. We're almost there. Really strong on those wrists. We'll get down. We got one more side to do. So ground into that right foot. Lift that left leg up parallel to the mat. Bend that left knee and then try to spiral the torso open towards that left armpit. Trying to stack one hip over top of the other and look underneath that left armpit. Really full body experience here, full body stretch for 3, 2, plant that right heel, keep it down as best you can. 1, and then release that sort of twist in that lumbar spine. Straighten that left leg out, drop those toes, and then go ahead and come down onto those knees. We'll sit back onto those heels. You can flip those toes under, and then just give those wrists a bit of a shake out. Woo. Wrists, shoulders. You probably heated up with that one. That was a big, big downward dog sequence for us this morning. We'll stay here on our knees for a moment. I'll come to I'm going to stay in the side position for now, just so you can see me. We're going to work on a chest opener. The full picture of the pose is camel. We have not done this yet, so we're just going to play with it and see how it goes. So from here, we'll come up and stand on our knees. We'll keep our toes down for now, but we might tuck our toes in a minute. You can play with that a little bit. But from here, we'll take our fingertips into the small of our back, remembering those sort of initial chest openers that we did when we were seated with our legs straight. We opened up the chest for with our hands back behind us. Well, here we'll plant them in our low back, and we'll just play with that chest opener. So squeeze your shoulder blades together. Elbows come back behind you, really feeling a strong lengthening through that front body. We're not back bending just yet. So really feel that openness. Try not to arch the back. You might start to feel like you want your fingertips to go further down. So you might actually find your own backside. Put your hands on your bum, go for it. They may want to creep a little bit down just to get that opening. Good. And then lower those hips down to those heels. Allow those hands to come forward. And we'll just nice long extended child's pose. So releasing the forehead down. It may touch the ground. It may not. Kissing the big toes together. So we're counterposing this with our spine. We were getting an opening, and now we're going into this sort of closed position. Alrighty, coming back up, standing on those knees, we're going to progress it now into more of a back bend. So hands will come to the same spot, low back. They might creep down to the bum again. That's likely to happen. But what I want you to think about in this one is to really press down into the feet, really lift up to the inner thighs, and try to really find strength through your legs as you come into this camel. So lifting up that chest, we're going to try to find a nice arch through that low back, but lifting up and pressing the hips forward as I keep my chin tucked in. So we're trying to arch the back, but not try to collapse and really compress the back. So you want to come up and then almost like over, if you can imagine, if you were like you had a huge like foam roller or a huge bolster that you were just putting under your back, you want to round over that. Open your heart up to the ceiling. Press into the tops of your feet. Really find lots of strength, lots of energy in this chest opener. And then slowly lift yourself up, stack the vertebra one on top of the other, press those hips back, and we'll release again to that extended child's pose, dropping that forehead down. If it reaches the mat, great. If not, no big deal. Finding a little bit of movement if you want to rock from side to side. So we'll try a little bit more of the full expression. You're welcome to try it. If you want, you can stay sort of where you were in this last time through. Hands are going to be in the small of the back instead of behind us. So if you want to come all the way up, back onto those knees, standing up tall. And if you want, I'll just give you a quick little glance of what it could look like if you wanted to try the next progression. So I would be here, I would be opening up my chest, I would lift out of my legs, I would round through my back. And what might start to happen is I feel like I can bring one hand back to my foot, potentially here. The other hand is just staying at the side of my thigh. So you can try that. Now, if you get into this position, you're like, how am I getting back up? You can bring that arm forward, the one that's not on the foot, and almost pretend as if you're pulling yourself back up to that upright position. So if you want to try with one arm back, if it's in your practice to do both arms back, go for it. But again, this is a very, very strong pose. So what we did just previously, you can stick with that, no problem. You can keep the hands here glued on your backside. Cool? Alrighty, here we go. So coming up, strength through those legs, press down through those feet, lift up through the heart, really find that up and over action of the spine, arching it back, 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 lifting that heart to the sky, keeping that chin slightly tucked. Excellent work, everybody. It looks so good. Great job. Press those hips forward. Keep them stacked over top of those knees. Good work. Connect back to that breath. Where did it go? What's happening? Is there a little bit of breath retention? Try to keep that breath flowing. And on your next exhale, come all the way back up. Let's release that back to that extended child's pose. This time, bring those knees nice and wide, almost as wide as your mat, and set those hips all the way back. Extend those arms out front. Drop that head down. You might feel like your breathing rate, potentially your heart rate kind of went up there. Totally normal. Again, it's a very intense chest opener. We carry so much extra tension in through that area that it can sometimes stimulate that, I wouldn't say sympathetic nervous system, but it does stimulate us a bit. So that heart rate and breath rate kind of comes up and you're like, whoa, what's going on? So just sink back into this extended child's pose, releasing, relaxing, catching that breath. Excellent. Now coming up, let's keep the legs where they are. So coming up into that hands and knees, except now my legs are nice and far apart. So toes are still tucked. If I were to think I have a triangle, I'm drawing a triangle with my two legs in the floor. So keep in that position. And then think about that right arm. We're going to focus on that right arm to begin with. So we'll take it up and rotate that torso all the way up to the sky. So reaching those fingertips up. Gaze can be forward or gaze can be up towards the sky. You decide how that neck feels. Now with that right arm, we're going to bring it down, but we'll slide it underneath the left. So slide it like you're threading a needle and drop that right shoulder down to the mat. Right temple or cheek may come to the floor. And then you'll see your left hand maybe right in front of your face. You can walk it forward and extend it long like you would in an extended child's pose. Hips stay all the way up. Good. Finding a bit of rotation through the thoracic spine, opening up through those shoulder blades, but really try not to fall into the head and the shoulder. Remember the feet are there to support you. So press down through the feet. Try to find equal pressure on all points of contact on the floor. Then bring those left fingertips towards the face to begin with. Get ready to power up with that left hand. Press down through that left hand and bring that right arm back through, planting it back underneath the shoulder. Fantastic. Here we go. Left-hand side. Spiral that spine all the way around, lifting those left fingertips up towards the ceiling. Might feel a bit of openness through the groins as we rotate. Then allowing those left fingertips to thread under and through on that right arm, dropping that left temple down, left cheek coming onto the side. Those right fingertips may want to walk forward and find a nice long body stretch. Try to think about those shoulder blades coming apart on the backside of your body. Find that space. And then walking those right fingertips back towards the face. Gonna power up with that right arm to get you back up. Push strong through that right hand and bring your left hand back to meet in parallel to the right. Great work. Go ahead and just give yourself a little rock forward and back, releasing those wrists a bit, releasing those hips. Awesome. Bring the knees back together. Tuck the toes under and press yourself back up into this little tiny squat here, a little tiny ball. Connect with your torso and thighs. Good. And then drop that chin down as you lift those hips up, coming up to a standing forward fold. So see if you can keep those feet close together right now. Dropping the head down, softening those knees as much as you need to. Hands do not need to touch the floor. They can touch the feet, the ankles, or the shins. Finding that release. And then if you're finding that you can't touch the floor with your hands, bend your knees a little bit more so that they do. Place that left hand directly under your nose. And then take your right fingertips and glide open once more into a twist. Open those fingertips up to the sky. Drop that bum down a little bit if you can. So almost it's coming into that twist in a chair-like pose. Good work. Connect back to that breath, long through the spine. Try to think that there's equal pressure on both feet to keep you stable. And then allow those right fingertips to come down. That hand replaces the left hand, so right hand under nose. Now pull those left fingertips up towards the ceiling, stacking shoulder over shoulder, one straight line through the arms, and then see if you can sink that bum down a little bit. Neck is long. Good work, everybody. And then bring those left fingertips all the way back down. Keep those knees bent if you need to, and then slowly bring those fingertips gliding up the shins to the knees. We're rolling all the way up to standing. Excellent work, everybody. So getting that twist, that mobility through the spine, two different ways, but essentially doing the same movement. The lower body just looked a little different. So we'll come to the middle of our mat. So come to situate yourself in the middle. And then we'll take our feet wider than hip width apart. So not like super wide, but kind of just a little bit wider than hip width, if you can imagine that. Take a look down if you want. And then we'll take our feet and take the toes out at an angle. So we've sort of opened up our hips a little bit and our feet are out at the diagonal. Okay? From here, we'll float our fingertips up towards shoulder height. And then we'll bend those elbows and open them up like they're like cactus arms, or if you're a football fan, here's the goalpost arms. And from here, we'll sink down so that our knees are tracking over our second toe. Try to keep that chest lifted, sinking down low. And guess what? This is goddess pose, ladies. We are goddesses. Here we go. Hold it here. Strong goddess. Squeeze those shoulder blades together. Drop those elbows down, keeping those shoulders down. Sink lower. Oh yeah, feel those legs. Keep breathing. Stick with it. Can we go a little lower? Oh yeah, let's go. Down we go. For 3, I got a smile from Wendy. Woohoo! 2, most of you are smiling. Yes, yes. And 1, press into those feet. Oh yeah, keep those arms there for a minute more. Good. Close them up like a book and then drop them down to the side. Awesome job. Just give those hips a little bit of a shake, a little bit of movement, a little bit of the floss. I don't think I can do it. Oh, I think Leanne has it. Oh man, the floss. Who would have thought? Anyhow, let's do that again, my friends. Here we go. Shoulder height those hands, bend those elbows, open them up, cactus arms, drop those shoulder blades down. Okay, here we go. Big leg energy here. Sink down. Here we go. Oh yeah. Tuck that tail under as best you can. All right, hold yourself here. Goddess pose. Our fingertips over wrists. Take a little glance, see what's happening. Sometimes they fall a little bit. See where they are. Sink down a little lower. Engage that belly. Hold yourself here. Keep breathing. All 10 toes. Can you lift them up? Oh yeah, lift those toes up. Oh my goodness, stay low, stay low. Press into those feet, sink down a little lower. Hold it here for 3, breathe. 2, chest big and proud. And 1, press all the way up, arms stay here. Close that book. And sink those arms down. Nice job. Give yourself a bit of shake out. How empowering is that? Goddess pose. And then we shake it out. Oh yeah. Alrighty, walk those feet, heel toe them in so they're underneath those hips. From here, I'd like you to take your right leg sort of out to the side. So just kind of kick it out to the side. And then take your left hand out on the diagonal. So we feel like John Travolta for a moment and staying alive with a little dance pose. What we're going to do is work our balance as well as a little bit of core work. So from here, if you want to just watch, I'm going to shift my leg up as I bring my elbow to the knee. And then I'm going to extend that leg out, tap it back down. So it's a diagonal movement that's going to target our balance through that hip of that stationary leg, but also our side abdominals, our obliques. So here we go. Let's see if we can make that connection. A little bit of a brain game, trying to connect opposite arm with opposite leg. Good work. Standing tall, keeping that chest nice and lifted. Excellent. Now, challenge for you, my friends. As you bring that foot back down, see if you can keep that foot elevated. Woo, I'm showing off and it didn't work. Keep that leg elevated off the ground. Good, try 2 more with me here. Last one, feel the heat of that body. Woo. And then release that foot if it's down. Give me a dance pose. Woo. And release, good stuff. All righty, what we do to one side, we gotta do the next. So we'll come to the other side. Now, I see that someone has joined us on the call. Wendy, you encourage, I can't tell from my distance, I don't know your kids' names, but go ahead and tell them to join us, okay? Okay, as he or she runs away. Now kick that left leg out to the side, right hand up. We got our disco move. We got our John Travolta. All right, you're joining us, woohoo. All right, taking opposite elbow to opposite knee, crossing it over. Go ahead and tap down to begin with, right? We don't need to go from 0 to 100. We're trying to push that edge, trying to add that challenge, but in a moment, we'll get there. Now, you might find one side has so much more stability than the other, or maybe you're pretty balanced. You will see so many things as we challenge the body with alternating arm and leg. Takes a little brain power here. Alrighty, I will say now, see if you can keep that foot off the ground as you extend. Great job, everybody. Whew. Feel that heat right through that middle. connecting lower body, upper body, connecting left and right. 2 more. Last one. Excellent work. Drop that foot, do a little dance, make a little love. No, I'm just joking. Keep going. Relax. You don't need me to sing. Shake out those legs. Awesome job. Alrighty, so we're going to focus a little bit of upper body before we head back to the floor. So think about those arms, keep those feet underneath you, just supportive, hip width apart. Bring those arms up to shoulder height. We'll bend those elbows. And then see if you can drop your left elbow and take your right elbow on top. So it's almost like a karate chop here, karate chop, to get those elbows stacked on elbows. Hands can be apart, they don't have to touch. Now remember when we were sitting, I asked you to press down with the bottom, press down with the top arm and press up with the bottom. So see if you can do that right now. Now you might feel connection of elbow to elbow, but press up and press down. See what happens with your shoulders. Feel the strength of both of your arms working against each other. No weights necessary, simply just using your own strength to press against. Good work. So that right elbow is on top of the left elbow. Really press down with that right. Press up with the left. For 3, 2, you should be maybe shaking potentially. And 1, open those arms up nice and wide and come to a diagonal, nice big diagonal. Reach. Good. Then bring those arms back to shoulder height, bend those elbows, drop that right elbow down as you karate chop that left one right on top. Pressing up with the right, pressing down with the left. Here we go. Other side. Feel those shoulder blades trying to come down away from those earlobes. Pressing, pressing, and breathing. Where's your breath? What happened to the breath? Is it still there? Good. Press down, press up. Feel a little bit of shake. Feel a little bit of warmth. Find that edge. What is your edge? How far can you go? Good work. For 3, 2, and 1. Open on that diagonal. Find that long body stretch. Good work. Now cross opposite arm over opposite hand to opposite shoulder. Just give you a little bit of a hug. Reach forward and take that cross the other side. Good. And let's do that just a couple more times, a little bit more dynamically. Just see what that feels like to go dynamically. We've been doing quite a bit of holding. Now with dynamics, it feels a little different. Good, and then lower those arms down. So now those arms are well awake, ready to take on the day. Come and step to the front of your mat. So you have a lot of mat behind you. Take a deep breath in, nice and big, fill up those lungs. And then as you exhale, just fold all the way down towards those thighs. Slightly bend through those knees, drop the head. Go ahead and release your head. My ponytail is just pulling me down to the ground. So go ahead and just shake that head no, and shake that head yes. Little rotation if it feels good. And then if you can't touch the ground, bend your knees quite generously. We're going to shoot those feet back behind us, bringing our right foot back, bringing our left foot back, coming into plank pose. Spread all 10 fingers apart, pressing down through those fingertips. Think about that nice strong line from the shoulders to the hips to the ankles. If you need to be at the knees, no problem. You can drop those knees or keep it nice and long. Holding it here. Add a little bit of challenge, taking the foot out to the right. And taking that right foot back, taking the other foot out to the left, and then back to center. Alternating legs if you'd like, keeping that long integrity in that spine, strong through the middle, my friends. One more time on each side, and then drop those knees down, press those hips all the way back, and come back to that extended child's pose. If it feels better for you to stack palm on palm, place forehead on those hands, that's fine. We're dropping that head towards the floor and swimming those fingertips back to catch the ankles. This one feels good too. So find your variation of child's pose that feels the most comfortable for you, finding ease, finding space. And then just reconnect to your breath. Then allow your fingertips to come forward if they were back behind. We'll slide ourselves forward and come onto our tummy. So go ahead and lie down on your stomach, coming down towards the floor. And allow your forehead to just kiss the floor here. We'll take our right leg and bend that knee, trying to bring that ankle towards the buttocks. Now, it probably will not touch, but I want you in this position to think about contracting that right glute and see if that gives you a little bit more space on the front of the body. So as you try to contract that right glute, see if something changes and that hip comes forward in its socket. The smallest of movements making a difference on those hip flexors, the front of the thigh, those muscles that are so utilized every day as we sit. Just trying to release it by trying to straighten it out. Good, and then release that right leg down to the floor, bending the left knee and trying to bring that left foot towards the glutes. And then as you're ready, see if you can contract just that left glute. Each glute muscle is independent. It has its own connection to the nervous system, so you don't need to contract both glutes at the same time. Just one, just the left. And see what happens to that hip as it that bone kind of falls forward and you feel a little bit more openness through that front of the hip. And then lower that left leg down. Now, just like we did in that thread the needle, we're going to work on our neck a little bit. So we'll let the hands come down to the sides if they're not there already, palms facing down. We'll roll our head and look over our right shoulder, bringing the left temple, the left cheekbone towards the floor. And years ago, when I practiced at the City Arts Center with one of the province's senior teachers, her name was Judy. She always told us to, in this position, to listen to what the ground has to say to us. So your ear is to the ground. Listen. And then slowly let your face roll forward, nose coming through the center. We'll allow our head now to come over to the right temple, right cheekbone, right ear to the floor. Allowing gravity to really let us stretch these neck rotators. Again, listen, what's there? Maybe you hear your breath. Good, and then roll that face back to center, allowing the forehead to ground down on the mat. And just move your head gently side to side or up and down so that the space between your brow is just getting a little massage. Another place that we can hold lots of tension. I particularly find it when I'm looking at the computer screen, my brow furrows. So give that space a little bit of loving. And then come to stillness and feel your body on the ground. All the points of contact, your forehead, your nose, maybe the palms of your hands, the tops of your feet. Just trying to find space as we allow gravity to open up as many parts of the body as we can. And bring those fingertips up towards the forehead. Stack one hand on top of the other. And then I'd like you to kiss your big toes together and see if you can let your leg bones roll out to the side. So it might feel kind of funny initially. Might be a position you're not always in very often. It should feel like your low back is expanding. So there's almost like this lengthening between the two back crests of your pelvis, if that makes sense to you. So the skin of the low back is getting a bit of a stretch, and just see if you can release the muscles of your legs. So if there's any tension there, just really try to soften as best you can into that rotation outward, still having the two big toes connected. You might find that you feel your pelvis, the front of the pubic bone pressing into the mat, front of the hips, the front of the pelvis. And this might bring a little bit of release, or we might find a little tension here too, through those hips, believe it or not. And then bringing the feet back into that sort of straight position out of the pelvis. Bring your hands down towards your shoulders. We'll press ourselves up all the way to our tabletop position. So get yourself oriented here. And what we'll do is just a couple final spinal flexions and extensions. So our cat-cow here, activate through the tops of the feet, press down through the hands as you tuck your tail under, tuck that chin, nose, and forehead, and really find that expansion through those two shoulder blades as they spread apart. Then tip that tail up, let the belly drop, pull the heart through the arms, and take that gaze forward. And now take yourselves through about 5 cat-cows, your own pace, just to sort of release any further tension through that spine, finding some nice movement, and maybe a bit of gliding through these movements. Try to smooth the edges out. And once you've done your 5, go ahead and bring yourself down to a very comfortable lying position. If there's anything else you want to do before you get into that Shavasana, you can go ahead and grab the knees, pull them into chest, maybe do a happy baby, maybe shake out the wrist, ankle rotations, whatever you feel that you need for your body to feel sort of complete at the end of this practice. And you can come to a lying position. I myself will stay seated so I can see you, everyone. But finding that last little bit of movement before we relax and let go the end of our practice. Taking our breath now and letting that breath flow down to the tips of our toes. Focus on that breath and that awareness through all the toe joints and up through the arch of the foot and through the ankle. Now thinking about your breath gliding up both of your legs. Let that breath soften all those muscles away from the bones. Let that breath continue all the way up towards the pelvis. And let it swirl around that hip joint, finding space in that ball and socket joint. Now let that breath Glide all the way up the abdomen, releasing any tension that might be there or being held. Finding space between all the organs and finding release. And then letting your breath come up to the chest and glide all the way down the arms, past the elbows, and down to your fingertips. Softening the arms to the floor. Then focus that breath gliding up the back of your neck and past your throat, up towards the jaw, the temple, the brow. And letting that breath come all the way out of the crown of your head. Your body breathes your breath, and your breath breathes your body. And as we start to come back to our space, before taking any movements at all, I'd like to share with you this quote I found this morning from Maya Angelou. She says, "Life is not measured by the number of breaths we take, but by the moments that take our breath away." So connecting back to that breath and recognizing what takes our breath away. Bringing a little bit of movement into the toes, into the fingers. May feel good to knock the head from side to side, finding some space through the neck. Now, as you feel like you're ready, you can move over onto your right-hand side into a fetal position, taking some more nice big breaths, letting them flow in and flow out. You can slowly press yourself back up into a comfortable seated position. Reconnecting to yourself and to your breath today in your practice. It was lovely to watch and be with you as you do this. We'll take our left hand, place it on our heart, take our right hand and place it on top, feeling maybe that beat under the hand. Taking a nice big breath in. And as you exhale, sending all the love out to the rest of the group. Wonderful job today. You can bring those hands now just into that prayer position. The light in me sees the light in all of you. Have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. Namaste.